For my wine of the week this week, I've gone to New Zealand, and I've gone to the Hawke's Bay area on the North Island of New Zealand. My wine of the week is the Esk Valley 2012 Verdelho from Hawke's Bay, selling for around £11.99 in a variety of independent wine merchants. There's a list coming up just along the bottom of the screen, and I'll put another list at the end of the video. Now, Hawke's Bay is an area on the North Island, as I say, much hotter, much more tropical than much further south in the South Island. Areas like Marlborough, Blenheim, Central Otago, those are much cooler, getting more south towards the Antarctic. So up in Hawke's Bay on the North Island, a great place for growing the red grape, the Bordeaux grape varieties, Malbec, Cabernet Sauvignon, Cabernet Franc, Merlot. Lots of really good wines made from them. And in fact, one of the best producers of wine is Esk Valley. Their Terraces Bordeaux blend has become a real kind of stalwart of the fine wine scene in New Zealand, one of the most prized red wines. Also the Syrah in Hawke's Bay, extremely good. But some other varieties are doing extremely well there, and Verdelho is one of them, pioneered by Esk Valley. The vineyards for this particular cuvée are over 10 years old now, and it's a grape originally from Madeira in Portugal. It's one of the fine grapes that makes Madeira wines, but it's now quite widely planted in Australia to make dry whites, and here in New Zealand, particularly with Esk Valley. An interesting wine made by Gordon Russell, a very dedicated winemaker who's been at Esk Valley for a long time. This is partially aged in old French oak barrels, not to give it oak flavour, but just to give it that little bit of breathing, that little bit of texture that comes from the interchange of oxygen through the staves of old barrels. It's fermented with wild yeasts, and it is derived from very low cropped, carefully managed vineyards where the yield is kept very low so that the fruit gains really good intensity. On the nose, that translates into a lovely kind of spiced orange note. Really quite an interesting nose. There is that spiced orange fruit, that citrus. There's something a little bit kind of salty and mineral here too, something a tiny bit herbal, but it's quite an intriguing nose. No real oak influence here, but something really quite interesting, slightly peppery too. So quite a lot going on in a basically subtle nose, but one that's full of subtle complexity. On the palate, it's delicious. That almost sherbety, citrusy, orange tangerine brightness of fruit is there. There are just hints of something sweeter, more tropical, hints of nectarine, hints of peach, but then that core of acidity, that mineral and grapefruit and lemon zest acidity just pierces through. That leaves it dry, leaves it quite full flavoured, but dry in the finish, firm in the finish. With 14% alcohol, it's no shrinking violet, it's a pretty big wine. Very good for matching to more robust dishes. Roast chicken, yes, fish and sauces. Maybe try it with Chinese food. That hint of the exotic fruit in the mid palate, that weight, that structure, all very good. So an interesting wine and something a little bit different. This is the Esk Valley Hawke's Bay Verdelho 2012 vintage. It sells for around £11.99 a bottle, and it's in a variety of independent wine merchants. The list coming up just at the end of the video. It's my wine of the week.